Hello, this is a 5-minute unprofessional review of Empyrion Galactic Survival, a pre-alpha game. So let's hit start. Okay, so first of all, what does pre-alpha mean? Pre-alpha basically means not only is it early release, but it's very early release. However, there is quite a lot into this game already. So I'd say this is quite similar to StarMade. And Space Engineers, more towards StarMade and Space Engineers, but very similar. Basically, at the start of the game, you crash land on in a little escape pod. That is your resources for a while, and then you build yourself a base. The planet you can explore quite thoroughly. You can build yourself little outposts with various machines. So think Space Engineers, but instead of being in space, you're on planets. If I put some O2 in here, this machine here will give me air. And I've got a health generator, I've got cargo pods. Once you've built yourself a little base, you can build yourself a little vehicle. I've got a little vehicle over here. There's a little hover vehicle. It's fairly basic. And once you've built yourself a little hover vehicle, you can get the resources to build yourself a little spaceship. Once you've built yourself a little spaceship and gone up into space, you can then build yourself a big spaceship that stays in space. So far, while playing this, I have built myself a little tiny spaceship, flown up into space, and I found a giant space station. It was kind of cool. I was exploring that, and I got shot to pieces. Crash landed on another planet, and that's where my spaceship is. Luckily, when you die, you can choose where to respawn. I've chosen to respawn back at my base where I have all the resources. However, that means my spaceship and most of my little treasures that I found along my way, they're all on another planet somewhere, so I'll have to build another spaceship to go back there. However, there are some downsides to this game. Space Engineers has some wonderful damage system, an amazing damage system. This doesn't. The blocks do deform, as you can see that block has been shot. See, they do deform. But once fully broken, which I don't have enough ammo to do with because all my ammo is on a spaceship on another planet, once fully deformed, they just disappear. There's no resources left. And in space there's no gravity or gravitational effects or anything along those lines, so things don't float away. In Space Engineers, when you get hit, a massive explosion, bits float away, ship can break up and float. None of that is in this game yet, but this game is pre-alpha. So that sort of thing is liable to come later. Given that Space Engineers is going to be their major competitor, they're obviously going to have some sort of damage system similar. Also, you cannot pressurise things. So this room, although it should be pressurised, these are windows, as I'll just show you from the outside. You should be able to make it airtight, but you can't. Your only air supply is in your suit, and you have to keep that topped up. This at first is okay, but starts getting annoying very quickly. But again, I'm going to say it quite a few times, pre-alpha, so they're obviously going to add more stuff to it. The planets are not particularly big to explore, and I get the feeling that they're not quite as procedurally generated as they make out. I started the game several times, and several times I ended up with the same sort of crash landing, the same resources nearby, the same crashed ship that was nearby, which is that one over there. And it does say at the start that they're going to have more random planets later on, but at the moment it's not that random. So this is a game I'd pick up now while it's on cheap, because it is a game that I can see being worth the cost much later. And there are still some very cool things in it, like look at that lighting effect, look at the way the shadows come across there. That was like very perfect timing there. The game is very pretty. It's definitely a lot more aesthetically pleasing than StarMade. However, it doesn't have some of the twerks of StarMade, like the multiple blocks of guns, and it definitely isn't up to the standard of Space Engineers. However, Space Engineers has been going for many months, possibly years now. Also, the updates seem quite random. We don't quite know what's going to come out on each update, but they do have a roadmap as such. What I do like about the game is they've made a lot of guides on how to get started, and all available in Steam, and a little video guides, so they're very easy to get. And we ran out of time. So I will say I do recommend picking up the game now. I don't recommend playing it to death right now. Hope you enjoyed the review, and don't forget to like and subscribe.